What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here of the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts from the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, Mr. Tad Desai. And Tad, we're continuing our rankings release with all these YouTube episodes. We did our quarterback rankings last week. In case you missed the episode, tune into it because me and Tad approached the rankings a little bit differently. So you may differences in the rankings and be like, wait, what's going on here? So it's worth it to check out the episode. But hey, in case you don't have the, 25 minutes or whatever it was that the episode went, we have both rankings on our Instagram and Twitter as well. So you can check out the rankings there and interact with us. I mean, you see the ticker down below. We got all the handles for you guys, both for Twitter and Instagram. We want to hear your thoughts on those rankings as well. But we're going to continue on with the running backs today, Tad. I'm excited for this.
This one was hard. So the top level was pretty easy for me, but that middle to bottom tier, that got muddled. That was tough.
It's usually the case with these rankings is like, you got your elite level players that's like, all right, these guys are pretty much in the top 3 to 5 or so. Once you get from 6 to
it's rough, man.
Running backs, we went through 24, and then for quarterbacks, tight ends, and a few other positions, we went only 12, but it's like still figuring out that bottom half and that middle, exactly like you said, is just like, yeah, do I slot this guy here? It's I like
running,
this guy here.
It's running back by committee. How many carries is this guy gonna get? It's rough.
But Tad, you know what's not difficult? Working with our partners at Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your sports, contests, and events, and with the first to market odds and lines. I mean, just find reviews and news for every league out there. I mean, obviously, we got Major League Baseball. We talked about this. The trade deadline is in less than a week. It's happening next Tuesday. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that affects playoff odds and World Series odds.
Cards are getting Juan Soto, baby.
Yeah,
Soto.
Yeah, it's Juan Soto. Yeah,
I need to learn how to pronounce his name before we get him.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream for you, buddy. So we'll see how that affects the odds for all the teams out there. Obviously, NBA has still got a little bit of time away, but hey, you can still bet on future odds.
Where's Kevin Durant going?
Exactly. Where's Kevin Durant going? Apparently, the Celtics are rumored that will affect their NBA title, possible repeat. Obviously, you got the defending champion Warriors. Are they a favorite again? Sort of thing. Your Heat were strong contenders, so you can always bet on NBA futures and obviously NHL futures. You got the combat sports with MMA, UFC, all of that, boxing. Esports, I mean, golf with both the live events as well as, the PGA Tour.
You just had to bring up live, didn't you?
Well, it's going on. It's a popular thing right now. You can bet on it.
You may not like it, but it's happening.
Bet Online has you covered, so we got to mention it, right? And I think the most important one, Tad, NFL futures. We are so much closer each and every week, each and every day to NFL kickoff weekend. Next week, we're going to have some preseason action. We are almost there, buddy. I think it's next week, if I remember correctly. The Hall of Fame game, Lord. I think, is next week.
Wow. This offseason has flown by. But yeah, guys, I mean, and look, gambling has been a big part of the show for the past year or so. And we do have an NFL future segment coming up for you guys in the near future. And you can bet. See what I did there? That was clever.
I'll give you that one.
Okay, thank you. So you can bet that we will be using their odds for our segment because they're the best odds. It's the best place to place your bets.
100%. So head to Bet Online today on your computer or your mobile device and join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50. It is a new promo code than before. So the capital BLEAV, and then that's number 50, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So remember, it's a new promo code than in the past. It is now BELIEVE50. That's capital BLEAV. 50. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, Tad, definitely, it's great to have betting ideas in the future with that coming up. But I think more importantly, let's get into our next positional rankings here with the running back rankings. So let's get it. I'm going to post up the graphic here. Your graphic.
Yes, sir.
Like we did last week, just really quickly. I mean, do you have a rhyme or reason for placing certain players the way that you did, or is just just a quick summary about your top 12 here?
First off, shout out to you because this graphic looks amazing. I love also shout out to you for not using the Browns helmet logo. That dog logo is so much better.
I love the
I'm
dog
so happy you love that. And plus those Chargers jerseys that in the Ekeler pictures, chef's kiss. But anyway, so look, it physically hurt me. I'm not even lying. Like it physically, I cringed when I could not put Jonathan Taylor as number one. But as I said in our podcast episode, and if you would like to know more about why I'm such a big believer in Austin Ekeler, go listen to that episode. But I think Ekeler is going to end up being fantasy running back number one at the end of this year, which is how I do rankings. Jonathan Taylor, if that Colts offensive line can stay healthy. That's my one concern. If they had the same,
Agreed.
if they had the same injury concerns that they did last year, that it would not shock me if Taylor ended up being actually one of the busts of the year. Not by any fault of his own, but just by, if that offensive line, because here's the thing, their offensive line on the surface is good, but, depth-wise, it's not really that deep. So if people start going down, we're screwed. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, that all fits. Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, I'm not going to lie, McCaffrey almost fell out of my top 12.
I don't blame you. I mean, a lot of people are just, back-to-back years with serious injuries, missed obviously the entire 2020 season, missed majority of the 2021 season. So it's just like, you don't want to label him an injury-prone player yet, but it's just like, this is a very crucial season for him, especially for fantasy managers and, for Matt Rule's coaching career. Like, I mean, if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play healthy this year, you can consider Matt Rule good as gone, unfortunately.
If the Panthers are not in playoff contention by week, because I have to, adjust it now, by week 9, I guess now, Matt Rule's gone. Like, this owner apparently is very short-tempered or has a very short patience, and he wants to be a contender. And so, Matt Rule is on the hottest seat by far going into the season. Leonard Fournette is a guy I'm a big believer in. He is my breakout candidate for the year, not just with running backs, with fantasy players in general. He is the undoubted number one running back going into the season. I really am a big believer in Leonard Fournette this season. DeAndre Swift, same thing. I think Jamal Williams, his usage is going to fall down a little bit. So I see DeAndre Swift, as long as he doesn't drop another touchdown in the end zone. Come on, man.
Ooh, yeah, that was.
I'm not even a Lions fan. I'm never even going to forget that. And then Saquon Barkley. Not going to lie, I kind of threw that one in there because I was like, all right, you're still good. It's just, I don't know, prove it to me, man. Like, let's see what you got.
With the change with Brian Daboll as the head coach now, a lot of people are expecting that Saquon Barkley can sort of regain some of that, promise that he had in the first 2 seasons of his career. Unfortunately, dealt with injuries, but he was healthy all of last year.
But
just unfortunately, didn't look the same.
Don't forget that Daboll, this is a guy that ran Zach Moss basically out of town. Like, he was healthy and active. So that running back by committee approach that, you as a 49ers fan know so well, what I call the Shanahan approach, because notice how there are no 49ers running backs there because I don't trust any of them.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
That Daboll offense doesn't really prioritize the running backs. So that's what has me a little concerned.
Well, on the flip side, I know you said that they sort of ran Zach Moss out of town or, whatever. Like, they made him a healthy scratch pretty much.
I'm pretty sure he's still on the roster, by the way.
No, he's still a member of the team, but just exactly like I said, he was a healthy scratch pretty much the last, 5 games of the season. Might have been a little bit less than that, but it's just something like that. But Devin Singletary actually got more action in that offense, and that's part of the reason why they might have made Zach Moss inactive, even though he was a healthy scratch sort of thing, because Devin Singletary looked good in that offense. So I understand your point that Brian Daboll does like to emphasize more of the pass compared to the run, but when you gotta have a guy like Saquon Barkley, I mean, it's hard not to involve that guy in the offense. It's you'd like to think you want to get him back on track. I'm sure the owners and the new GM, Joe Shine, probably want to see this guy's coming up on, the end of his rookie contract. So it's is this a guy we need to extend, or is this a guy we're going to let go and somebody else will reap the benefits possibly sort of thing? So it's I think, because of all those factors, we will see more Saquon Barkley. Just how effective will he be? That's the big question mark.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. I think that Saquon, in my opinion right now, has running back 2 locked down.
That's fair.
Running back 2.
I like that.
That's where I love him. Can he get back to that running back 1 territory? That's where I'm a little concerned. So last question about my rankings before we move on to yours, because this is something I struggle with. Nick Chubb at number 3. How much do you think, if at all, well, it's definitely going to happen, Kareem Hunt is going to tune his production? Because I was really struggling between Chubb and Cook there, but Cook also has Madison nipping at his heels. So, like, they both have good backups kind of, like, biting in their production a little bit.
So the big thing with Nick Chubb, though, is that he's just such a great and gifted runner.
Yeah.
That it's just like, the only thing that I worry about a little bit is just overusage, because especially with the looming Deshaun Watson suspension, they may lean more heavily on the run again. Like, I mean, I know this is sort of what Kevin Stefanski's system is built on, running the ball first, then going with the pass, obviously. But it's just like this with the 8 games, it's like Jacoby Brissett, possibly Josh Rosen, who was just signed recently by the Cleveland Browns. It's like, I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback, but because of that, I wonder if they're going to overuse him that first half of the season. And he did miss a couple of games last year. So I wonder if that's going to carry over this year. But
who was the running back? Dearness Johnson. God, that was a great
Dearness Johnson. Yeah. So it's just
man.
They do Cleveland. The big thing separates from Cleveland and Minnesota is that Kareem Hunt definitely gets used a little bit more compared to Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison's like probably the best running back handcuff to have. If Dalvin Cook goes down, you insert Madison, he's going to put up pretty much the same exact numbers. But as long as Dalvin Cook is healthy, Alexander Madison is worth this much to you.
Yeah,
like
no, exactly.
He really has
he'll get you like what,
offense.
2-3 points a game.
Exactly. Whereas Kareem Hunt, they use him in the pass game because Nick Chubb can catch the ball in the backfield, but Kareem Hunt is definitely the better pass catcher. So they use both of those running backs in that offense. So they both have value. So yes, Kareem Hunt will eat into Nick Chubb's value a little bit, but the guy still puts up such monster rushing numbers that he still has better value compared to Kareem Hunt, because they don't use Kareem Hunt as much as a runner, more as a pass catcher. And so I like your ranking of Nick Chubb finishing probably higher than Dalvin Cook, because I mean, Dalvin Cook does suffer injuries pretty much every single season. So there is going to be a situation where he's probably going to take less points than Nick Chubb. So, but as far as answering your initial question, like, I mean, Kareem Hunt will eat into Nick Chubb's touches, but not enough where it will affect your ranking here. We're having Nick Chubb ahead of Dalvin Cook. Like, I mean, that makes sense to me.
All righty. Well, in that case, let's move it on, which is still a reference I'm sure most of our listeners don't know, but I'm still going to do it. So
wait. No, we're not moving on. I want to question what. Well, this will relate to my rankings as well, because people will see that here. But Derrick Henry at 7. I'm just curious as to why you have such pessimism to have a rebound year in 2022.
So it's not so much on Derrick Henry. It's kind of a similar answer when I gave about, where I rank the Saints defense in terms of fantasy, of like, it's not so much about the players, or in this case, player. It's more about just what's going on around them. So I don't trust Dennis Allen with the Saints. I just don't trust this Titans offense. Tannehill is back to being Tannehill. Their offensive line is either getting older or sucks.
Sure.
Like this, I shouldn't say never, but it's very rarely I've seen in my life where a team has fallen apart this fast. So I'm worried about the fact that Derrick Henry has the most usage of, let's talk about, in terms of current active running backs. Mark Ingram is above both these guys, but let's be real, he's not a legitimate fantasy option for running back 1. The only running back 1 option above Derrick Henry in terms of usage with carries has been Ezekiel Elliott. Derrick Henry is second after him. All this to say that he's been used a lot, so I'm worried about wear and tear. On top of that, he has a bad offensive line. On top of the fact that this passing game is probably going to be crap, and I know I talked up Treylon Burks and stuff, but again, Treylon Burks' usage is what's going to get him there. It's not the efficiency, it's usage. There's a difference. So I don't think this passing game is going to be very efficient. Basically, I'm worried about teams stacking the box against Derrick Henry. And yes, he's Derrick Henry. He will still break out and everything. That's why he's still in my top 12. But I am really, really worried about just how effective he can be this year. So I see him, my view of Derrick Henry is low-end running back 1.
Okay.
So I know we kind of, this is getting a future segment we're going to do, but as I've said before, I'm in a auction draft league. The second Derrick Henry goes over 55, I'm out.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So all valid points for sure. But, now we can sort of transition into my rankings and we can sort of understand this here as to why I brought up that sort of, comment about why you have him so low. But also definitely we've brought this up before. Tad's approach to rankings are a little bit different than mine.
A little bit.
Tad's go based off how he thinks players are going to finish, where mine are more preseason banked rankings. So let's switch it over to mine.
Oh, come on.
You can clearly see here that I have Derrick Henry at second. But once again, like I said, our approach to rankings
you got Jonathan
so
Taylor first. I'll give you that.
Ranking. So mine are based off of preseason rankings where these guys are going to get drafted. But I still think that Derrick Henry will finish higher than 7. Let's just sort of address that right now. I completely understand the argument that you sort of laid out. It makes complete sense. But I also understand that because of the, question marks surrounding the passing game, the question marks surrounding the offensive line, you have to lean on the part of your offense that you could possibly rely on, which would be Derrick Henry. So even if he doesn't get, he's not as effective as he once was, he's going to get the pure volume. So maybe after this season is when you want to start ranking Derrick Henry a little bit lower because of that overusage, like you said. But I still think because he's coming back, he wants to have a solid rebound season. I shared with you preseason videos of this guy making jukes up a hill.
Oh my God, he made jukes on a hill unguarded. He's a master running back.
Considering the fact that he had a foot injury, that's still impressive to me. So whatever it is, it's just I still have faith that Derrick Henry can still be a solid running back in this league. And I think I still have him to finish in the top 5. I think he's going to have that good of a season. But, I understand a little bit of the, pessimism, a little bit of the fear that, he may not be as effective as once before. There's a lot of great talent at the running back position, so he very well likely could fall in the top 5. But I expect him to just rebound really, really well. So that's why I have him at 2 of my preseason rankings, but I have him to finish in my top 5 as well.
All right. No. Okay. Fair. I understand the value, the volume argument. I totally understand that. How, in that case, do you have Austin Ekeler and Joe Mixon ranked below him? Because those are players and better offenses that are going to get the same amount of volume that are also receiving threats. It's just that they should be above him.
So once again, like I said, these are preseason rankings. So I think this is where players are going to get drafted.
This is where our difference comes into play.
Because, I very much could see Austin Ekeler finishing at number 1, exactly like you have him. The guy scored 20 total touchdowns last season. He was a dual threat, exactly like you said. So it's I expect that to continue, especially with Herbert's growth, this offense being a little bit more complete. The offensive line's a little bit better intact in Los Angeles. So, he could very well finish at number 1. But, as far as people viewing him, for some reason, obviously Jonathan Taylor with the season that he had, he's gonna go number 1. That's clear cut, crystal clear, no argument there. After that, you get a little bit of a discussion okay, do you value Derrick Henry a little bit higher? Do you value Austin Ekeler a little bit higher? Joe Mixon had a sensational season. Can you repeat that? It's all of that sort of then becomes a little bit subjective as far as who you like better. So for me, this is just based how I see things a little bit falling out for my personal rankings. But as far as finishing, like I said, that's a completely different story. I'd like Austin Ekeler to possibly finish at 1 or 2, but definitely I think he's a top 3 finisher again.
Okay, so before we move into the 2 players I really want to talk about,
sure.
Aaron Jones, interestingly low on both of our lists. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's so interesting because just to, promote something that we're working on already, we're working on fantasy articles.
And by the way, real quick, sorry to interrupt, just to remind people, Aaron Jones is number 6 on my list. So he's number 10 on yours, number 6 on mine.
Yeah, 6 as a finish. Yeah, for sure. So just to promote something that we're working on, we've already brought this up before, but we're working on fantasy articles for all the other 22 teams that did not hire new head coaches. We did the first 10, so those should all be coming out pretty soon. Me and Ted are hard at work at those because there's a lot to get to.
So annoying.
So we're hoping to get those all out to you soon. But so in that I got to cover the Green Bay Packers. And so I talked about Aaron Jones, and I think he's going to get a larger target and touch share in this offense. So I think he's going to finish higher than 10. But I think because all of these other players sort of established themselves last year a little bit higher compared to Aaron Jones, I like those guys to get drafted a little bit higher compared to Aaron Jones. But it's very similar to just most players in this Packers offense. Unfortunately, I think they're going to go a little bit undervalued because of the question marks surrounding everybody. Like even Aaron Rodgers, like I showed it on my rankings, if people remember or not, but I had him at number 12.
Than I am. Yeah.
I had him at number 12 as a pre-draft ranking. And so I think he'll probably finish.
It's because of the tattoo, isn't it?
It's because of the Con Air appearance to the preseason camp. I think that's exactly
that was great. Screw you. That was great.
But just regardless,
Put
I think
the bunny down.
Yeah. I like though that I don't like though, but I think most people are going to be viewing the Green Bay Packers a little bit, like I said, a little bit undervalued because just there's question marks as far as how this offense is going to look without a primary receiver. Are they going to lean on Aaron Jones more? Are they still going to operate the same way? Is AJ Dillon going to get a lot more involved in the offense? It's going to be a little bit harder to tell how this offense is going to shape up. So that's why I have him at 10, but I really like him. So it's like getting him at number 10, like getting him at the back end of your first round, possibly early in the second round. Like, I mean, that's just excellent value. Like, I think he's going to get a large touch share in this offense and get really involved that he'll be the focal point of this offense. So while I have him ranked as 10, I have him finishing a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I think he'll finish as like a solid running back one, low end running back one.
Easily.
Now, the two players I really want to talk to you about on this list, because I understand this is different than how I did this, but
of course.
So let me speak to the people, because you are a voice for the people here.
Sure.
I'm a voice for me. You're a voice for the people. That's how we're doing this. Apparently.
Okay.
People. First off, Najee Harris. Be wary. I'm not saying don't draft him, but be wary. Because this dude he had a very productive rookie season, absolutely. But the dude averaged like 3.2 yards a carry. Like this is kind of what I'm talking about with Derrick Henry. Of like, if you know what's going to happen and you're on the defense, you're going to defend against it. So the Steelers gave him plenty of carries. So I think it was more of in terms of how much attention he got from that offense rather than how efficient he was with it. Again, usage versus efficiency. That is the key thing to look out for here. So Najee Harris scares me a little bit. I'm not really looking at him more than a running back 2 at this point. With the question marks at quarterback and everything else, how is his offense going to look now that Ben Roethlisberger's gone? I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was half a quarterback last season anyway, but that whole Steelers offense I'm kind of scared of. I'm kind of saying I'm not totally staying away from them, but again, be wary. Just be wary. Buyer beware. And then also, what the hell is Alvin Kamara doing on this list? That dude's going to miss half the season. He should not be on this list. Don't even draft it. Stay away from him.
From what I'm reading, it's most likely going to be about 6 games. I'm not saying about half the season. So
okay, that's practically half the season.
But still, it's like I think the guy just is such involved in this offense. Like I said, he just commands such a high target share in that offense. Touch share, I should say, probably not just target share because he's as a running back as well. Yeah. It's just I think they're going to see the ineffectiveness of Mark Ingram. Like he's going to be okay, but nowhere near when he was in the prime of his career when he was doing a lot, obviously better, but just like, this is like, coming towards the twilight of his career. He's not going to be the same guy. So it's like, as soon as Alvin Kamara is healthy again, they're going to involve him completely. Like, I mean, I know they're going to have Michael Thomas back. They're going to have Chris Olave on the outside. Just signed Jarvis Landry. I think there's a lot of great passing options there, but I just question just how effective Jameis Winston will be, or Andy Dalton. I don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. So that's what you want to rely on.
They know who the starting quarterback is going to be.
So once again, you need to rely on what works. So it's like, I understand that he may miss 6 games or 8 games, somewhere in that range, but you still want to value him pretty high because, I mean, I have him at 11 for the reason that because he's so involved in the offense, and if you play in a league where you can sort of draft him and stash him, this is a guy that you want to draft and stash. You hang on to him. He'll give you a great boost as you're making that march to the postseason. So, I mean, I understand maybe it's a little bit high. Maybe I could have dropped him a couple of spots, but I think because he's just so involved in that offense, he's such a crucial part to the offense, especially with all the question marks. Very similar to Green Bay, where it's just like we don't know how this offense is going to work. Very similar to Tennessee, where it's like I don't know about how the rest of the offense is, but I could rely on Derrick Henry. So this is a very similar thing in New Orleans, where it's like I don't know about the rest of the offense. I don't know about the quarterback position, but I can rely on Alvin Kamara. So yes, at 11, maybe a little bit high, but I like the fact that you could draft and stash this guy, and he'll give you a serious boost as you're making that, postseason run.
See, this is why you guys need to look at how your league is run.
Exactly.
Because
That's
if
such a critical factor.
Yeah, if your league has that spot where, the IR spot or the inactive spot or whatever, and you can put Kamara there, 100% go for Kamara. Like I will ditch my last position. Yeah, go for him. He is worth it. But if he is taking up a bench spot, I'm not quite sure he's worth that 6-week wait, because by then you may be too behind to really make up for it.
That's fair. And then just related to the IR spot, like different leagues and different platforms leverage the standard IL spot
suspension. Well, that's why I said inactive too, like IR. Yeah, because inactive,
it's like some people, the IL, like the league or platform that you play in, like I played in a Yahoo league last year, where it was like even if the player is just out for one game, you can still put him in the IL spot. So I was like,
really?
Oh, hey, that's fantastic.
Also, I love how you're saying IL, because we've been working on our fantasy baseball team, so we're just like used to using IL now.
So, I mean, it's like depending on the platform, like I said, they have different, variations as far as who you could put on the IL list. So it's like there are certain leagues that have the designated, like, COVID bench spot and the IR spot and just the inactive spot, like Tad said. But even if you have played in a league where it's just one IL spot, check the settings, because like I said, some leagues, they like allow you, just even if they're doubtful or out, you can put them in that IL spot, pick up a guy off the waiver wire to add to your bench, sort of thing. Or they're very strict about it. They're like, no, unless this guy is actually hurt and on the IL, then you can put him on the IL.
That's the league I play in.
I can't
unless they got the O next to their name, I cannot, in my league, I cannot put them there.
Exactly. So I can't emphasize what
Tad
said.
But again, if they have the SUSP, try saying that 5 times fast, then you can put them there. So that's key.
Yeah, so 100%. I can't emphasize what Tad said more. Check your league settings. That doesn't just apply for IL spots, but your scoring settings, how your roster is set up. Like, all of that affects your draft strategy for sure.
And if you don't like your settings, take it from a commissioner. You put enough pressure on your commissioner, he may just change them. So it's not like it's set in stone. Because let me tell you, just click a button and that'll change.
Exactly.
So, annoyingly.
All right. So
my league, leave me alone.
Tad, I think there's another player that you wanted to bring up too. So who's that second player?
So I mean, this kind of goes in the same thing as Aaron Jones and Najee Harris and everyone. But I'm a little worried about Javonte Williams. How much is Melvin Gordon gonna chew into his production there?
That's fair. And, maybe this is a little bit of a personal bias, too, because my love for
You've been on
Williams.
this guy's bandwagon for so goddamn long. This was the least surprising player to pop up on your list.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that includes Jonathan Taylor.
That's fair. That is all fair. I don't know what it is, but just like,
I don't know either.
My man crush for Javonte Williams is
man.
skyrocketing, man. I don't know what it is.
You're not even a UNC grad. I'm
not a UNC grad. I don't like the Broncos.
I don't get it.
It's
weird. Anyway, defend yourself, sir.
Yeah, for sure. So, yes, the Melvin Gordon signing did affect the fantasy stock of Javonte Williams, but I think the bigger thing is just, like I said, I just like Javonte Williams' talent a little bit higher than Melvin Gordon. They both share very similar skill sets, so it's sort of surprising to say that. But, he's got the younger, fresher legs. I think Denver's probably going to rely on him a little bit better. Now, here's a big thing, though, that I worry about a little bit is just I wonder who's going to be a better pass blocker, because they will see the field more, because Russell Wilson likes to operate out of the shotgun and the RPO. So you need to have a guy who could pick up the blitzes, pick up the blocking schemes properly. So if Javonte Williams can't do that, we may see Melvin Gordon on the field more. And then who's going to get more touches then? Melvin Gordon. So I completely understand the, worry and the scare that Melvin Gordon brings to this offense. But as far as just being a pure talent, I like Javonte Williams a little bit more. So, yeah, right now I got him at 12. So I think he'll probably be drafted around that spot. But, yeah, that's going to be a key factor. That's a very big training camp storyline, preseason storyline a little bit. I don't know how much they're both going to play during the preseason, but definitely during camp. Like, whoever's picking up the blocking packages a little bit better, they will see the field more, which will then, in relation, their fantasy stock will guide that much higher than because they're on the field more.
No, that's an excellent point. Honestly, something I never really considered with the Broncos is the pass blocking, especially because they're going to be passing it more. They finally have a quarterback. Sorry, Drew Lock. Please don't tweet at me. Please don't U.S. Open me. Please don't do that, Drew Lock. But yeah, they're going to be passing it more. So pass blocking is a huge, huge factor here. But
well, I mean, you know this because there's that famous clip on YouTube.
Oh, God damn it, Donald.
Exactly. Peyton Manning screaming his head off at Donald Brown because he missed a blocking package and he goes down with, I think he was able to avoid the sack. He was able to run out of bounds.
He ran out of bounds if I'm remembering
that
correctly.
plays a crucial factor in your passing game.
No,
like,
it does. It really does.
Passing block, then it doesn't matter that he was a first round pick. He was cut like within 2 seasons, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh God. So one of the worst first round picks in Colts history, and we draft George.
So it makes a huge difference picking up this pass blocking for sure. So yeah,
for reference for our listeners, by the way, just YouTube. I kid you not, just YouTube. God damn it, Donald, and you will see what we're talking about. Do it because it's a great clip. But no, I agree with you from a talent standpoint. Javonte Williams is definitely better. He's actually one of my favorite. Call him a sleeper. He's kind of a sleeper. It just, that Melvin Gordon thing kind of scares me a little bit, but it would not shock me. If he was one, and this is what I was talking about with that middle gets muddled. Say that 5 times fast. But that middle gets muddled because I was like, I like him. I do. He's talented. He's in a good offense now, but you got the question mark with Nathaniel Hackett. We really have no idea what this offense is going to look like. We had the question mark with Russell Wilson. How much is he going to? There's a lot of question marks there, but I see the potential. So it would not shock me at the end of this year, especially the way I do my rankings, which is the way we should do our rankings. If Javonte Williams, honestly, it wouldn't shock me to see him at the 4 or 5 spot.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. But
also, we should say this also to clarify. These rankings were made before Chris Carson announced his retirement.
True.
So that may
and
affect
before we learned that
forward.
Leonard Fournette's over 260 pounds or whatever. So
fat bastard.
But yeah, one other thing we definitely want to bring up.
I eat because I'm sad. I'm sad because I eat. I'm not even going to try a Scottish accent.
Yeah. One other thing that we want to bring up too is that we went 12 deep on the episode today, but our graphics, when we post them on Twitter and Instagram, we're going to go 24 deep. So yeah, make sure you tune in to our Twitter. It's scrolling by right now. Perfect timing as usual with StreamYard. Make sure you check out those Twitter and Instagram timelines so you can see those new graphics. So we got the 12 that we just showed you. But we got additional 12 with other guys that were going 24 deep because, with the running back position, you need to draft 2, 3, possibly 4 guys on your roster overall because you just need that depth. You need the starting positions as well. So, we want to make sure that you guys are covered as you're preparing for your draft for sure. So
that's a good question. Real quick, one word. How many running backs do you usually have on your roster?
At least 4.
Yeah, I got 4. Yep. Yeah. Same.
It really depends on how the draft plays out, obviously, but at least 4.
Yeah. Don't force 4 on your roster, and I'm already doing next week's episode. Don't force 4 on your roster, but 4 running backs is the goal.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, this was a great episode again with running back rankings. We already did the quarterback rankings. We're gonna get to the other positions as well in future episodes on YouTube. So, hey, if you want to find out when all those episodes are happening, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the LAFB Network's YouTube channel, where we have our own individual playlist, the This Side Guys Football Forum. You can subscribe, always be up to date when the latest episodes are dropping. And, of course, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. So whether it's on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can listen right on the LAFB Network website as well. I mean, there's a ton of platforms out there. Hit that subscribe button. Always be up to date with the latest episodes are dropping there because, like we've already mentioned, and hate to sound like a broken record, but we're ramping up the fantasy content all of this month, all of next month as well. So we want to make sure that you guys are prepared, have the leg up on the competition, so you can bring home some titles, some belts, some rings, some trophies. I mean, whatever your fantasy trophy is, your bauble, I guess I should say, that's the thing, whatever it is, we want to make sure that you guys win it.
I mean, I wish you would have told me you were doing that setup. I would have stuck up my own trophy there. It's in my closet right now. Damn it.
Well, okay, well, that's something we can allude to for next week's episode.
Oh, yeah, no, trust me. During August, I'll be stroking that trophy on the show all the time. But, guys, as a merc... Yeah. But anyway... Guys, as Amir said, thank you so much for watching, and definitely be sure to be checking out LAFBnetwork.com for all the articles we're pushing out. Amir is doing a great job of pushing those out. I'm a little behind, so I got to catch up a little bit. But
we haven't pushed them out yet. We've been working on them.
We're going to. Well, I think they're not pushing out because I'm a little behind. So we're gonna start pushing those out.
They're gonna come out.
They're gonna come out. Yeah, exactly. So be sure to check those out because look, if you want to see what we have to say about your favorite team fantasy-wise, we are going to get to it. That is an absolute promise. So be sure to check out LAFBnetwork.com for not just our content. We are pushing out some awesome new content. We've hired some awesome new people. I'm really excited for you guys to see what we're doing this season because it's gonna be different. It's gonna be good, but it's gonna be different. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait to enjoy it with you guys. Thank you for watching.